Welcome back to TV5 News at 9. People often think buying a home is a simple thing. You walk in, you like it, you make an offer, but there's really so much more involved. Joining us this morning to tell us more is Monique Gilbert from Team Matchmaker. Thanks for being here.
I'm so happy to be back.
So Monique, choosing the right home might seem like a pretty obvious choice, but is it?
You know, it's not as simple as people think. And so there's so much that goes into choosing the right home that people are not aware of, which is a good thing, for a reason for having a great realtor.
Right.
Because it's somebody that is a neutral third party who's working in your best behalf to get to know you, because sometimes there are things that are really important in the home buying process, in the selection of a home, that we don't necessarily think of. So there are some really important questions that we need to ask ourselves in that process.
And I've heard of the must-have list. Why is this so important, and what is it for those who don't know?
Okay, so the must-have list definitely is very important. And so whenever anybody on our team starts working with a buyer, that's one of the first things that we do, aside from getting them pre-approved if they're going to be financing, is what are those things that you cannot live without? And that's going to be different for every person. So it could be a specific location. Obviously, it's going to be a price point. But maybe you have to have a pole barn. Maybe you absolutely have to have a 3-car garage. Maybe you have to have a 1-story house. You don't want it to be so specific that you're going to miss out on the right house because there's one little thing. But there are those things for everybody that are non-negotiable, and that's going to help us set up a saved search so that we can get you on the path of finding that perfect match.
Could it hurt you having too many non-negotiables?
Yes.
Yeah.
It surely can. So if you are trying to be so specific, you know, we're not in that big of a marketplace. It's not like there are hundreds of properties coming on the market every month. It's not like there's no competition. And so you don't want to be too detailed.
Right.
Because when we set up a saved search, we're going to put that must-have criteria in there. And as soon as something comes on the market that fits your must-have criteria, it's going to email it to you. And it's way better to have a little bit more of a selection than to weed something out before you even see it, right? Because you might have to say, oh, this house doesn't have a fenced yard, but everything else is perfect. And darn it all, I missed out. I never saw it. Why didn't you send it to me? Well, because your must-have list said fenced-in yard, and so you missed out on the home of your dreams with something that you could have put in yourself afterwards.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's talk real estate agents real quick. How does a good agent versus a great agent make a difference in a successful home purchase?
I think a lot of it is communication. And so our team studies a lot about getting to actually know our clients.
Yeah. Because
sometimes when you're the buyer or the seller, you're emotionally involved in something, and it kind of can blind you a little bit. And so we like to use the Ford questions, if some people might be aware, but talking about your family, your occupation, your recreation, and your dreams. And by opening up those lines of communication, we can kind of learn a little bit about what's important to you, what's the most important thing to you, because sometimes we can pull things from those conversations that you're not necessarily going to think of as you're making this emotional decision. And we can bring that to the forefront and say, have you ever thought about, or what about this, or would you consider something else?
And you've kind of answered this already, but could you just talk more about how important it is to pick the right realtor for you?
You know, it makes all the difference in the world, having the right realtor and having the right loan officer, and I can't stress that enough. So having somebody who has experience, somebody who's going to be working in your best interest, somebody that you can trust, that you're going to be able to carry on a conversation with, and feel like they are protecting you. They're negotiating for you, they're actively searching for you. They're going to help you through the inspection process and do any renegotiating that might be possible, or if they're your listing agent, you know, vice versa. But you really want somebody who knows the community, somebody who has experience. It's not their first rodeo, so to speak, so that they know how to best get you the best fit in a home, as well as getting the best price and the best condition and all of that kind of stuff.
Finally, any last minute reminders for first-time home buyers? Anything else they should be aware of?
Oh,
I think we've covered most of it. These are all really good tips.
I think most of it, is having that first one-on-one conversation with a realtor who is good, so they can answer the questions, take you all the way through the process. And I would like to add that last time we were here, we talked about our first-time home buyer seminars, and we have one left, and that is in West Branch. And that will be next Thursday at 6 p.m., a week from this Thursday. So if you're in the area and you want to register, you can still do that on our website.
Good to know. Monique, thank you again for being here this morning. You can find more information on today's topic in the hot link section of WNEM.com.